Hello students, welcome to class today. My name is David Oluwatosin and I'll be taking you on the subject of biology. Today's topic is biology and living things. We want to learn about biology, what biology is, the definition, characteristics of living things, what are living things. So this and many more we will be looking into this topic today. Now at the end of this class, you should be able to answer these following objectives, these following questions. You should be able to say, define biology. You should be able to state briefly what biology is. You should also be able to mention the branches of biology. We have several branches of biology and you should be able to mention them. You also should be able to define science. What is science? How does science matter to you, life, and human beings, and to our environment? So these are some things you should be able to list. And then the fourth one, you should be able to list and explain the method of science. So you should be able to define biology, what is biology, mention the branches of biology, define science, and list and explain the methods or the methodologies that are involved in science. So stay with me through this very brief biology subject today, very interesting one I must tell you. And take your noting pads and your pen along with you so that as we write through biology as a science, you'd enjoy yourself and have points to note down. I'll be right back. Welcome back. Before we left for the break, I said we listed our objectives, which include getting to know what biology is. So we have a brief definition of biology. We can break biology into two words. Biology can be broken down into two short words, which is bio and logos. As you can see in my definition here, bios means life and logos means the study of. When you put the two, so this means what? Life, and you put this one, the study of. So when you put the two together, it becomes what? The study of life. By life we mean living things, plants and animals. So biology simply can be defined as the study of life, anything that has breath, anything that is alive. Now we move on to the branches of biology. These are the branches, the major branches in biology. One, we have zoology. What is zoology? The study of animals. You must have heard of zoology as a course in the university. That means those people who study zoology in the university are studying what? Animals as beings. Okay? We have botany, which is the study of plants. We have ecology, which involves the study of living things in relation to their environment, their habitats. Why do man live on the ground, on dry land? Why don't we live in water as fish and sea creatures? That's what ecology is all about. And then we have morphology, which involves the study of the external features of plants and animals. For example, why do humans have two hands? Have you ever seen a human that has three hands? No, because it's in our DNA, it's in our genetics. So morphology deals with the external features. Why do dogs crawl? These are the questions that come up when we are trying to answer the questions that is raised in the study of morphology. Alright? Then we have anatomy, another very interesting branch of biology, which involves the study of the internal structure. We're talking about the skeleton, the organs, the parts of the body internally of living things, as we have namely said, plants and animals. Every living thing has an anatomy, which is the internal structure of that living thing. Then we have genetics, which is the study of hereditary and variation in living things. Why do you look like your parent? Why do dogs look like dogs? Why do the offspring of a certain plant or animal looks just like its mother its mother and its parents. That's the study of genetics, which is a major course, a major branch in biology, and something that you can go to the University of Education to study as a whole. And then we have physiology, the study of how plants and animals function, why we act the way we do, why do human think the way they do, why do snakes crawl, you see. So the physiology of plants and animals. So these are the major branches of biology. Now we move on to the next section.
Hi, I know you're enjoying this video and would like to see related materials and content. We have loads and loads for you in store. Make sure you like this channel, subscribe, hit the subscription button right now, and share with your friends and colleagues so that when next we release the next video, YouTube will notify you. Now let's get back to the class.
Science. You must have heard about science. It's in our day-to-day life. In fact, we are surrounded by science. Now, what is science? Science is a systematic process of making inquiries into living and non-living things in our environment. So science helps us to distinguish between living things and non-living things. Why are these things living? What are the attributes that we consider in a particular thing that make us term it as living? Why do we look at, example, this flower or this marker in my hands and say this is non-living? What are the features, the parameters, the variations that we can consider in this marker to decide that it does not have life? That's what science is about. It makes inquiries. So people who study science are called what? Scientists. They make inquiries, they ask questions. So science involves asking questions and coming to logical conclusions based on available facts. Are you still there? Now, why is science useful? For many benefits. Like I said, we are surrounded by science. Okay? For many benefits, including what? Medicine. Of course, you take medicine, you take drugs, okay, traditional or even synthesized medicine, over-the-counter, prescription meds. You cannot produce drug until it has been tested. The idea that the drug can solve a particular ailment or diseases has been tested and proven to be accurate before it becomes a theory, before it is allowed to go into production. You can remember during 2019 when the COVID hit the world, and a lot of people were dying, but scientists had to take their time to go through the processes of science before they could come out to say, we've tested this vaccine that it can work in curing the COVID strain or the COVID virus. And yet, even though the vaccine was being administered, many scientists still came out to contest and say no, which they actually won later. No, this vaccine, something is wrong about it or something. So science is contestable. We also use science in manufacturing. Our cars, automobiles, planes, everything that is manufactured requires science. Construction, the building, the making of building, bridges, railroad, they have to measure. They have to get accuracy, measurement and analysis. All right? Engineering, agriculture, either livestock agriculture, crop agriculture, technology, okay, cyber technology. Every kind of technology requires scientific or systematic arrangement of data. We have communication, we have transport. These are the major benefits of science, but we have a whole lot more. So here is a class an assignment for you, a short one. Is mention all the benefits of science relating to your community. You can submit this assignment by using the form in the description. You put your name and then you mention practically other benefits of science that you can discover around you. The top 3 answers will be getting a special prize from me in our next biology class. And then we move on to the next subtopic, methods of science. Now we've mentioned that science is involved in practically All right, now we go back. Now we continue to the method of science. As we have explained that science is the systematic arrangement of data.
Hi, if you are preparing for an exam, this channel is for you. We have loads of content for you, which we'll be releasing in coming days and weeks. Make sure you like this channel and subscribe to this channel so that as soon as we are releasing those videos, you'll be notified by YouTube and you can have success all in one sitting.
All right, to arrive at a logical, acceptable conclusion. Let's see, how do we make systematic and accurate scientific discoveries? How do you come on to say, yes, I have done my findings based on scientific facts or hypotheses or guesses, and then I can confirm that this truly is and should be accepted by the general public? Let's look at it. The first point in the method of science, or the methodology to scientific discovery, is observation. What's observation? Using our senses to describe what we see or feel about an object. Okay, so I want to call this a whiteboard marker. Why is it a whiteboard marker? What do I observe about this particular piece of object that make me refer to it as a whiteboard marker? That is what observation is. So I begin to list it. Okay, it has such and such attributes, physical attributes. And then the next thing is classification. After we have come about our observation, we now classify it and organize it. We organize our findings on that particular object. The third method of science, which we must go through before we come to arrive at a theory or arrive at a law, is inference. We begin to make logical guesses on the object. Could it be this? Oh, why do you say it is this? If we have this and this, how could you say it is this? Do you understand? And then we come to measurement. We then compare the object or the idea to a standard SI unit based on previous discoveries, based on previous study, scientific research. We compare. Okay, if you say it is this, you must have seen some professors tackle themselves. How could you say it is that? Based on the law of Archimedes and this, it couldn't be that. So that is what scientific debate to arrive at the right, generally acceptable conclusion. Then we have identification. Identification helps us to assign a name to the object based on its trait. Why is this a flower? What are the things we see about it that make us arrive at the conclusion that this is indeed a flower? Why don't we call this a lamp? You understand now? After this, we can now come to an hypothesis. Another word for hypothesis is guess. We can guess, okay, which is an explanation or prediction of this object based on our findings. You know, our hypothesis now, or our guesses now lead us to conduct a proper experiment. Okay, now we have this variable, we have this variable, we have this variable. Let's put it to the test. Either chemical experiment, biological experiment, or even data analysis. We begin to conduct several experiments to indeed ascertain that our guesses regarding the object is true or false. Which leads us to a conclusion. Based on the results we have obtained, we can arrive at a conclusion that yes, it is indeed true. If it is true, it becomes a theory. If it is not true, it is again subject to further investigation. But if it is true, it becomes a theory, and a theory that has been tested and proven over time now becomes a law. Then you have law of thermodynamics. You have Newton's law of nature. You see, you have Archimedes' principle. You have several of such laws like that. Okay, because those laws have been tested. Why is it called Newton's law of motion? Because Newton was the one who came up with the idea, the hypothesis, the guesses. He presented it. It was contested, and then generally accepted that based on previous facts and what has been tendered to us, we agree with you, Newton, that this is accurate, this is true. So when a fact, a law, a concept has been contested, and accepted, generally accurate, it is then allowed to become a theory. And when a theory, over time, it takes a long period of time before a theory becomes a law. Now I'm going to give you an assignment. This is the second assignment in this class. Define Archimedes' principle. What is Archimedes' principle? Now I don't want ChatGTP answer. I want you to give me a practical explanation of a practical explanation of Archimedes' principle using life occurrence to explain it. Okay? You can do so in the description below. Okay? Make sure you attach your answer to it and submit. The top 3 accurate answers would get a prize in my next class. Thank you so much for going through this topic with me. I'm sure you have heard about ALLCBT. We are #1 world resource for all computer-based tests. We also organize online tutorials for you to join and sharpen your knowledge in your desired field. If you want to write an exam, you have interest in expanding your knowledge base regarding a subject or topic, use our app or selected categories on our YouTube channel to come about the desired materials that you have, and you'll be happy with it. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends and your classmates. See you in the next one. Bye.
Hi, if you have not subscribed to this channel, you can do so in 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And don't forget to hit